Greetings, citizens. I am your host, Jay Voodoo Child, and this is Manor Lords. We are starting a new beta campaign in early access version 0.8.035. This is a major patch in which lots of people are kind of scrambling around trying to learn the mechanics and develop new techniques, and basically all the old guides are kind of thrown out the window because this is practically a new game with all the tweaks that they've included in this massive patch. So I am also kind of learning this game, kind of developing these new techniques, and so I'm just kind of playing campaigns and just kind of explaining how I'm approaching the game and taking new looks at things. So let me just dive right into it. And this particular campaign, I'm really going to focus on castle building. So I rolled for a rich stone deposit and got this real interesting kind of layout as far as the resources. Also got rich clay, which isn't the best, but oh well. Did get iron. That's going to be kind of important, so I can make 114 spears and crossbows, and that will field a little over 3 units. And then spares for casualties or what have you. So basically, I can flesh out my my spearmen and have 2 crossbows on either side, kind of flanking around. And so there's that. All the fertilization is up here. This is a non-fertile land, but just have a little bit here. As you can see, for ember, 2 green. These are going to be ember fields, 3 here. I'm just kind of rotating with 1 for each season. I think these are 0.6, I want to say. And 0.6, 0.6, 0.5 maybe. And 0.3 over here. And then the outer ones are going to be for the rye. And they are all strong. Now, I have found out that rye and ember share the same fertility, so it doesn't matter anymore which you put first. You really can't have a rotation. And I believe since the development points have been kind of reshuffled and the fence up capabilities of having the sheep recover some of the fertilization back to its original percentages, so like here, it's 70%. So 70% is as high as it's ever going to get. But it will drop down to like, the 30s or something like that. And then I think with 1 season to follow, it'll recover about halfway. Possibly if you had the fence in and cheap, it would go all the way. But that creates a problem that we only have 3 things. So basically, you'd have to manually each season kind of reset where it was in the process. So you could kind of trick it and, possibly like an early harvest event or something like that, just to trigger an extra one. And it's this added hassle to an already complex and manual or labor intensive kind of specialty with farming. There's another video that I kind of go into some of that, but not on this channel, on someone else's channel. So some of the comments I made there. So anyway, it's a larger community, something that I'm appreciated. I'm actually hanging out on another channel's Discord, and we're just kind of sharing information and techniques and whatnot. And if this is at all helpful for you, great. Otherwise, thank you for watching regardless. But yeah, I've got a really steep hill here. And as long as your housing are on flat land, you can have the backyard crazy steep. And I just kind of want to make use of this space somehow. Pastures is another way. And I may do something with that over here for this, too steep land. Or maybe in across here, I'm going to have like farm stuff right in here. And then like maybe some housing in behind it. Anyway, so just kind of different things I'm thinking about as far as phase 2 or phase 3 of this particular campaign. But right now the focus is stones. So I've got a new kind of hook campaign. One of the things that we've kind of discovered on the other channel and the other video is that the hunting grounds, there's an origin that has an upgrade that you can make to the hunting grounds to add a hound. And you can use that on a fish variety form. You just got to have a population in there to send the hound out to go track down a rabbit for you, and to have a passive income of one rabbit every 7 days per hunting camp. And to me, that is ideal because I'm always looking for something to do with the 1/3 of the family that is not working the backyard of a garden. And so I want kind of a specific, single task that only one person does as far as a job. And just having someone in the hunting camp, even to send out the hound, if that's all they do, that's, pretty good income for its resource that I'm kind of just wasting away otherwise. And so this is something I can just throw into here and set and forget. But since I do have small animals somewhere, here we go. I'm thinking about setting them up over here instead of, kind of coming in close, because when you do have the hunting grounds, generally one of your people is always like, one is a hunter, maybe two is a hunter, and then one person is a trapper. And the trapper will wander to any random forest on the map to lay its trap. So it gets kind of out of the way, and so that population becomes more problematic if you're moving stuff around. And in the early games, you're always moving population around. So I'm trying to avoid that. So even having the longer routes, before I get the veggies up and running here, I don't mind having the longer route. And I have found it is tough even for 16 to keep up with the reproduction rates of these rabbits, because, they breed rabbits. So anyway, let's just jump in here. Something I've covered in another video, the first plot of building that requires a log that you lay down is the first place that the ox will go to. And so for this, I want the charcoal kiln to be the very first thing I get up and running. I find this to be an excellent trade resource now that it's no longer locked behind development points. And so I want to get this up and running as quickly as possible. And start converting the firewood immediately. Now, this particular scenario, I'm running double starting supplies. So this thing has, I think, a capacity of 60 or something like that. It cannot convert all this firewood. So this will become 80. So I have to kind of wait for other things to happen. So I'm not going to be able to get complete conversion at the start. And one of the things is I don't have access to the people tab. That was one of the first things that they took away for the homeless tents. And this person right here is family number 1. And since everyone is wandering off here, so now that this log is dropped off, this ox has the new order to find what is the next thing to build. I'm actually surprised all these people are wandering. Oh, I guess they're wandering over here. This is another highest thing, but I don't need 9 people to go over there. Hopefully, maybe they're flattening the ground for this high priority here. Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. So, if I just assign one family here, it's going to be this person, and this ox is just going to stop. So, I'm going to assign that family and then unassign it and then sign another one. And this will go to the second family. This is, I believe, going to be the second family. And let's see all that. Oh, no, he walked away. So let me... how can I do that? Okay, this is what I needed to do. I'm sorry. Assign a second family and then reassign this to my ox and then unassign that. And see, he goes, picks up the ox immediately. And this is the family. This is the second family right here. So yeah, apparently we need like all 12 people. Oh, I actually have not ordered my second ox. That's something I did not do before my pre-launch. So hitching posts, and so I'm a little late on getting this house up, which is unfortunate. But they are going to carry over one at a time, some firewood. And then once they get enough, one person is going to sit down. I think it's going to be 10. When they get 10 firewood, one of these persons are going to sit down and start processing it. So they're going to generate 20. And the other person is just going to continue to walk over. Alright, so we got the 2 logs in the lumber camp. Trying to think what is my next priority. I think these 2 mediums. Actually, this is a high over here. That's a medium. And this is... Get some extra guide roads to slightly reduce the travel times. Alright, so they're working this. Let's see, where is that family doing? Alright, so first family, first house. We got our message. I've heard you're renowned. You know, you have no rights here. I believe this ended up being a duel. And so instead of having 2 territories, they only have 1. But that also could be that there's a smaller number of regions here. So this is helpful because with the castle, I'm anticipating having more battles. And so I'm kind of looking forward to enjoying that aspect of having stone castles and, you know, some crossbows up top, the shooting down. Alright, so again, we're going to do the little trick. Alright, so she's already sitting down, crafting here. And like I said, she's going to generate 20. And I'm going to want to get 2 ticks out of her because we only have 60 spaces. And then she can sit it out. Alright, I waited too long on this. Actually, no, it's not done yet. Someone has to go get a tool. So I'm going with the granary instead of the storehouse as far as what I'm going to do to get up to 55% and get that extra pop for April 17th. And for more information on that, you can kind of consult some of my other videos. I've got a whole series on the Not So Perfect Start, where I kind of demonstrate how I focus on pop growth regardless of the map, regardless of resources. Because with pop, all other things are possible. Alright, wow, that's taken a long time. So, yep, you're getting the, actually, no, you're getting firewood. So, everyone just kind of ignores the tools. So, this could be a problem for me, because I've used up all my wood. Okay, construction camp, logging camp is done. Alright, so who are you? I guess there's no way of telling. Alright, I am going to set and I want to get another section of this. And so I started another campaign on this map and I set up 4 strips here. But with the hunting camp thing, I'm going to go with a different origin. And I was going to go for the Alps and just put sheep up here on the elevated land. But I'm no longer going to do that. So I want to clear this area out. This is also going to be another problem because it's going to be some time to bring logs down. So there's that issue. Something else I've mentioned in the videos, anything with a tool maintenance, I'm going to fully staff. Because regardless of whether you have a full staff or just one person in there, the durability is going to tick off at the same rate. So I want to get as much use as I can from this 270 days before I get charged for another tool. Alright, so it is critical that I get my first 2 logs. Oh, I need to look at this. Alright, so when this person is done with their craft, actually they're transporting. Okay. Let's look at this thing. I don't need the pop right now. So I'll let them continue to get all the firewood out of there. Alright, so So you'll get a third person there. That'll help out that. And you are still dragging the ox. So yeah, 2-to-1 yield here. So housing, I think, is a priority to get up and running, not only to provide space for migration in, but each house upgrade increases your initial 5 families, increases their workforce by 50%. So I'm just waiting for 2 timber to get finish up, and then I'm going to get a 6 house going, and I'm going to put that in my highest priority location. And hopefully I can get that done in 16 days. Alright, so someone's already picked up fuel for this house right here. And we got someone crafting. I've noticed that they'll tend to rotate through the staff, like particularly with the sawmill. It's like each family member will take a turn doing their sawmill while the other 2 just kind of wander off, which gets frustrating because if their house is very far from the sawmill itself, or they're wandering off, someplace far to go pray, to go drink, to go get water, to go get firewood, all that kind of logistical considerations, it gets real frustrating. My first campaign, I had this kind of really aggressive long-term build plan to kind of completely deforest this peninsula and to build a new city there. But my resources, my starting location, and also where I had a deep... All right, let me see here. I've got 1 person available. So when this person is done crafting, I'm going to move them over to the granary and get this stuff off the ground. So I need... really need to get this house up and running. Alright, so 2 timber. I am going to move 1 person over to the granary. Alright, where is these people? Alright, so I got 1 with the ox. You... who's waiting? Wow, we still have a... Alright, so... you are done with... Alright, I gotta decide this, because once I start constructing here, I'm gonna lose access to what they can do. So how do I want to do this? I'm going to risk it and put them into the granary. And then release the other two families to get these constructions done. So yeah, they just abandoned the ox. That was the last log that they need there. But that waiting person went up and grabbed it. So are you... Yeah, okay, I'm kind of confused here. Alright, how we're doing? Alright, we got... So, yeah, I cannot craft anymore. So, we're going to release you. We got that final log going, and then we have a bunch of people just building stuff. Okay, and I need to get this going. So I waited until that log got moved, because if I had not done this, this ox would have then started going out to here to pick up the logs. In fact, let me get some logging roads to increase that time. But anyway, they would have gone out here and pick off the logs off the ground instead of the supply point. So I wanted to get that last log out. And are you going to drop it off? Okay, yeah, there you go. You just go wander around. Put it in an odd spot because it's on a hill. Yeah, I had to get real creative on where to build, because even with these smaller houses, I'm dealing with a steep thing. Now this mine on a massively steep hill is not going to be an issue. But yeah, look at these bands, how close they are together. Alright, so how are we doing on time? We are running out. But next, I need to get 3 logs for a well. That's the next thing I need to consider, is where I want to... Alright, so while that's working, I'm going to figure out where it is that I want the marketplace. And initially, I just want a marketplace with 2 spots in it. And that's going to be fairly difficult, I imagine. Alright, so I got a little marketplace there. And we are running out of time. So I got 1 log there. So we might actually be able to pull this off. Then I need to immediately jump. All right. You've got all the food off the ground, right? Yes, yeah, so you can get out and because I don't need that marketplace up and running just yet. That's for April 17th, when I have to get this over from restricted into friendly at 55%. I will need a well someplace. And that's going to be a difficult spot to find. So if the well is there, I don't know where the saw pit's going to go. All right, so we have reached origin. So let's do a save. Stone, clay, iron, animals, mushrooms. So as I was saying earlier, my first thought about this campaign was to go for the Alps. Reduction in clothing goods, which is key at this point because it's right now bugged. Instead of consuming every year, it consumes every month. So that's a considerable difference. So if I can knock that down to every 6 or 6 instead of 12, that's sizable. Particularly with shoes. Shoes are I'm finding very hard to keep up with. Wool, I can just buy sheep and shear them and get that into clothing fairly quickly. I'll generally do 2 tailors double stacked in order to do that. We'll kind of see how that rolls this time. But I'll still do 2 whether I double stack those buildings or not. I don't know yet. But sheep can hang out on that high elevation. I was going to plan on seeing if I can do the double rotation, even if it is more labor intensive. And then the hunting camp is more efficient, and I have one of those. It's a basic one. I'm not sure what efficiency means as far as this extra produce for catches or things are twice as fast. So I want to kind of explore that. And the trade routes are the only downside. Now, I was basically kind of saving getting charcoal unlocked because that's one of my go-to money resources, particularly in the beginning. But in this case, that wasn't going to be the situation because I have rich stone. And rich stone is a kind of quirky thing in this particular patch and this level developed in the game. We have a surface deposit of 1,149, and we have 2 buildings that we can utilize here. Let me see where are those. We have the standard stone gatherer camp that just kind of is an outside source. It doesn't require like a zone of control, like with a mine or something. And they go pick up rocks, and it has 50 capacity. And that's just, the old standard thing. This quarry is different. This works like more of a mining pit, and it's actually a pit. And it can only be utilized on rich stone because rich stone actually does have a zone of control. But as soon as you lay this down, it wipes out the surface rocks that are available. So I want to collect all of those and sell all of those, instead of just having them go away. And these go for 1 silver each. And it is a minor trade, so you don't have to pay for the trade route to do it yourself. And with a horse, that's 50 silver per trip, which is fairly decent. But with this origin, this is what I consider an S tier origin. And export prices for minor trades are increased by 50%. So I have not confirmed this specifically, but I think this is a rounding situation. And that's one of the things I will do in this particular campaign is kind of pay close attention to this. So I know in the trading posts, the trading posts, the export price for anything that's 1 becomes 2 when you add 50% to it. So it's not 50%, it's 150. Now, if you send 50 of those off, I'm not sure whether you come back with, 50, or it's going to be 100 silver back or 75 silver back. So that's one of the things I'm going to be looking at for this particular round. But again, the hunting hounds and the forged goods, I believe, yes, I have a rich deposit on forged goods. So this is going to be something that I kind of go nuts on as well, even though it's fairly far away. And then the only downside is the vegetable gardens become less efficient. Now, the strange thing about that is, so it becomes less efficient by 25%. But the produce sells at least at 50% more. Of the vegetables, 2 are considered minor and 1 is major that requires unlocking with a trade route in order to sell it at all yourself. But also the trader will come by and pick it up. Now, the beets sell for 1, which become 2 in this, or maybe 1.5 in this. And the carrots sell for 3. And so that's 5, or, let me see, 4.5. So it's either going to get used at a slower rate, and I generally have problems with vegetables to begin with because I can't get the house expanded quick enough in order to sustain full harvesting of these humongous backyards that I typically have. And those are large enough so those 2 people are working that backyard for 9 months, for the non-winter months. And so I'm trying to get all the use out of that backyard as possible. So having minus 25% efficiency may not be the worst thing, as far as I'll maybe avoid some spoilage by rain coming by when at an inconvenient time, because my granary workers just can't get to all the different sources to pick up stuff. Particularly when each house kind of has a food source with an egg or a goat meat or a pig meat, and then all the other sources with the mushrooms that, I'm going to be building several foragers So just all the things that a granary can pick up, sometimes they will get overwhelmed, and I can't move those vegetables out before the rain comes by and spoil them. So maybe this is not so much of a negative, and the upside is if I do sell it, I'm getting that much more out of the deal. So the trade offs. And then when we discovered that hunting hounds work even if you have the fish resource instead of the small game resource, I mean, this thing is this super S tier. Unless, I mean, let me see here, fields and vegetable gardens. All right, so unless you have rich fields and want to depend on those barley or the clothing one, I forget the name of it, but unless you're really relying on that as the basis for your region, I can't see a reason why not to choose this one. I guess if you are just specializing in something, if you just purchase a region for extracting stone, this might be good. For extracting mining, this might be good, and just kind of set up some helmet makers and just kind of work those resources. So, specializations like that, yeah, go for a thing. But for your starting city, which you typically will start doing everything in, I can't see why you wouldn't do this one. So, that's that. Now, this is also kind of interesting because was it this one? No. Where was it? Approval rating. It'll be interesting because getting to the 80% is very important. Whether you can get this as a way to get back to that maximum pop thing. This is interesting right here. Now, this approval rating for food variety, in the early going, you get 4% for having a vegetable supply and 4% for having a meat supply. And hopefully you have a nearby, berries or mushrooms to satisfy the non-meat side when you run out of bread. And then you have the fish and small game. Fish is plentiful even if you are farming down to that 40%, so you can kind of get maximum fish at the start of March, and then try and fish all of that down to the 40%, down to 60% of that, throughout the month. So it resets those 3 times. You're getting all the fish out of that. That's generally enough to last you the year. Now, selling fish is an interesting thing. So there's that as well. But small game, like I said, just replenishes so fast. I can have a dedicated, full family hunters out there, and I can't bring in, I basically have to really over hunt the areas in order to not have it completely always at maximum. And I try and avoid having things at maximum because they have nowhere to grow after that. So I always want to have some areas of growth in there. And so I'm pulling all the resources I can out of these different nodes. Like I was saying with the stone thing, I want those surface stones to go away. I want to do something with them before I put in those deep mine things and start doing that. So, getting up to 80% is difficult when the bonus first year of the region goes away. It takes a while, and I'm still kind of working out the most efficient way to kind of get that lingering memories percentage up to where it pushes our approval rating up to 80. And I start going back to that 2 month per income. All right, so is this something I want to do now or later? So mushrooms being doubled is the only thing. Now, I believe I have seen on another scenario that when the deposits are doubled, the growth rates are doubled at the same time. I don't need any of this now, but this is the only thing that becomes effective now. So let me just take a look at that. And before I press the trigger there. All right, so we are 53.60. This thing is about to cap out. So, yes, I want to get this going now. All right, and let me see where we are. 27th. And I'm all done with building. Okay. So now I can figure out the problem is I have no resources. I guess that's what I can do. All right, so who has the ox? All right, you are flattening ground someplace. All right, so you are going to be there. Do I want constructing or flattening ground? Who has the ox? Oh, no one has the ox. Okay. So, when possible, I try and get people working into something relatively close to where they're working. Just to kind of reduce the I'm waiting or I'm fetching stuff for my house and I'm too far away from the office, if you will. So I'm going to get these last 3 things built. And hopefully it won't take long for the logging camp to be up and running. Even with the late order. And I need to get 3 things before the 17th. I need to have 2 logs for another Burgess plot expansion. So I'll have a free place to have that family. and a well built someplace. And I guess for that well, I need to figure out where I want saw pits and all that good stuff. So here are going to be the shield maker, the bowery, or the blacksmith and the bowery. All right. So here's my nearest trade post up here. So I'm just kind of keeping an eye out for the new ox. You do have a log. What? Where are you dragging this? Oh, I got 2 logs. Okay. So I made a mistake here. When you are upgrading a house, it tends to pull away from the job site. The people will go home and start working on their own home. So let's do this, since I'm less worried about the hunting camp, even though it's a longer trip. But, you know, also the 18th until June 1st, or the 17th, I will say. Or excuse me, not June, but May or March. No, May. This is March, about to turn to April. How do I have an extra log left over? That I don't get. So we can't see the people there from the house, but we can see the people from here. So we have flattening ground, a transport, and you're bringing back an animal that you found, and you're flattening your ground, and you are waiting. But now you're going off and hunting now. So I got a couple extra food coming in. All right, April 1st. Year 1, April. So we have a person moving into here. And I'm going to assign them here. And we're going to turn on the marketplace. And because I have two varieties of food, I only need one, and one I'll get guaranteed because I have plenty of wheat bread to put into that market style. But yeah, 1/3 of the population are kind of doing idle stuff. One of them is got the ox, which is fine. So we have 6 people. Excuse me, yeah, 6 people out actually doing the work. All right, and now we want to get a well. And I think I'm just going to go for the easy thing and put it down right here. And can I get 2 markets into this corner here? I don't think I will be able to. Nope. Alright, so does that mean I want to pull it back some so I can do some market stuff in that corner? Well, alright, yeah. I can work with that. So get 3 in there, 2 in there. That'll work. Alright, now, is there anything I don't want into this? I think I'm fine with everything. So you're going to go pull this log. And, well, you're going to pull this second one over here first, I'm pretty sure. Housing does tend to get prioritized. So we're coming up on the hour, so we'll end the episode here. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please consider giving it a thumbs up. Subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified of when I post new videos. And please share with me in the comments your thoughts on this campaign, any things that I'm doing that you want further explanation on, or some tips that you have for me. Please share with myself and the community and kind of share the knowledge. Thank you all for watching, and take care, everyone. Have a good one.